It started like any other quiet Saturday afternoon, just me and my son hanging out at home, trying to enjoy the peace. My son's been through a lot, and he's disabled, so we try to keep things low-key and comfortable for him. But out of nowhere, this black SUV rolls up outside, and two guys jump out wearing fake HOA uniforms. I'm talking full-on badges, walkie-talkies, clipboards, the whole act. At first, I thought maybe it was just a mix-up. But then they started barking orders, claiming we were violating neighborhood rules, whatever that means. Before I could even process what was going on, things escalated. One of them shoved past me and started yelling at my son. Yeah, my disabled son, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My heart was racing, and I was just trying to keep it together. That's when the front door opened again. Unluckily for them, my MMA coach had stopped by for a visit. He's the calmest guy I know, but when he saw what was happening, how they were treating my kid, something in him switched. What happened next? Let's just say those fake HOA cops weren't ready for the storm that was about to hit. You're not gonna believe what went down after that. So here's where things really started to get weird. These two guys weren't just acting like they had authority, they really believed it. They were flashing fake IDs, quoting random bylaws, and kept saying they had the power to remove us from our own house. I was trying to keep my cool, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. I've lived in this neighborhood for years. We don't even have an active HOA. That's what made it so strange. Who were these people? And why were they targeting us? My son was shaken up. He's been through enough already, and seeing strangers yelling and pushing their way into our space was just too much. I felt helpless for a second, until I remembered who was standing in the kitchen. My MMA coach, Marcus, was just visiting to drop off some gear and check in on us. He heard the commotion and stepped into the room, calm as ever. He asked them one simple question: "Who gave you permission to be here?" And just like that, the energy in the room shifted. The fake officers didn't know how to respond. One of them reached for something in his jacket, and that's when Marcus stepped forward. But before anything else happened, one of them said something that made my blood run cold. One of the guys, the taller one with the fake badge, looked straight at Marcus and said, "You don't know who you're messing with." His tone dropped, and something about the way he said it wasn't just a threat. It was like he really believed he had some kind of power over us. That's when Marcus' expression changed. He didn't move aggressively, didn't raise his voice, but you could feel the pressure shift in the room. Still, he didn't act. He waited. Meanwhile, I was trying to keep my son calm, but he was visibly scared. He kept asking if they were going to take him somewhere. That broke me a little. These guys had no right being there, and now my son was terrified in his own home. I asked them again who sent them, and that's when the shorter one slipped up. He muttered something about a private enforcement group hired by the community. But again, the asterisk is no HOA asterisk. Later, I found out other neighbors had seen the same SUV parked around the block all week. Some even said they were questioned too, mostly families who looked like they wouldn't push back. That's when it hit me. We weren't the only targets. And then one of them made a call. Just one quick sentence into the phone: "We've got a problem." The second that guy said, "We've got a problem," everything slowed down. Marcus's eyes locked onto him, and I could tell he was reading every move they made. My heart was pounding. I didn't know who they were calling or what they meant by problem, but I knew we were in something deeper than just a neighborhood dispute. These weren't just fake HOA guys trying to flex authority. They were part of something organized. Marcus leaned over and quietly told me to grab my phone and start recording, just in case. As I hit record, the taller guy noticed and stepped forward, telling me to turn it off for my own safety. That was the moment it all turned real. I wasn't sure what they were trying to hide, but now I had proof they didn't want anyone to see. And then we heard it, another vehicle pulling up outside. A different SUV, darker, with tinted windows. It stopped without turning off the engine. No one got out, but the vibe shifted immediately. Marcus moved closer to the door, putting himself between us and whatever was about to come next. Inside the house, everything went quiet. My son clung to me, whispering if we were going to be okay. I didn't have an answer. All I knew was something big was coming through that door. The door didn't open right away. The engine outside kept running, low and steady, like whoever was inside was waiting for a signal. Inside, the two fake HOA enforcers went stiff, like they weren't in control anymore. Marcus noticed it too. He stepped forward and calmly asked, "Is this still about HOA rules? Or are we playing a different game now?" The taller guy didn't answer. He just glanced toward the window, then nodded slightly, like he knew this was no longer about property codes or violations. Then came the twist we didn't see coming. From the side hallway, my security system beeped, a notification from the app I barely ever use. I checked my phone and saw footage from an outdoor cam. The SUV that just arrived, it had the same plates as a vehicle that was parked across the school. My son goes to * 2 weeks ago. I remembered because I had reported it. It was sitting there for hours, engine running, no one got out. My stomach dropped. This wasn't random. They had been watching us. Marcus caught a glimpse of the video and his whole demeanor changed. This wasn't just trespassing anymore. This felt personal, maybe even targeted. And just as I started to piece it together, the front door knob slowly began to turn. No knock, no warning, just someone trying to come in. The doorknob turned slowly, then stopped. For a split second, everything stood still. Marcus raised his hand slightly, signaling me to stay back with my son. I could see his muscles tense, ready for anything. The two fake HOA guys shifted nervously, like even they didn't know who was about to walk through that door. Then the door cracked open, and in stepped a man in a suit. No uniform, no badge. He didn't say a word at first, just scanned the room with cold eyes. He looked right past Marcus, right past me, and locked eyes on my son. That's when Marcus stepped forward. "You need to leave," he said, calm but firm. The man in the suit smirked. "You think this is over a fence or lawn care," he said, stepping inside. "Your kid's been flagged." That hit me like a truck. Flagged. For what? My son's just a kid, disabled, quiet, barely even goes outside. I demanded answers, but the man ignored me and turned to the others, who suddenly looked more like hired muscle than anything official. And just when I thought Marcus was about to act, sirens wailed outside, real ones. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows. Turns out, when I hit record earlier, the live stream auto-posted to a community group I forgot I'd joined. Half the neighborhood, and someone with real authority, was already watching. But the twist? One of the officers who came in recognized the man in the suit, and not in a good way. The moment that officer recognized the man in the suit, everything shifted. The tension snapped like a rubber band. Turns out, the guy had a history, linked to a shady private security firm under investigation for harassment and impersonating HOA officials to pressure homeowners. Within minutes, the fake enforcers were cuffed, the SUV was searched, and evidence was collected on the spot. My son was still shaken, but once he saw the real police take over, he started to relax. Marcus stayed close, making sure we were okay. One of the officers pulled me aside and said my livestream had tipped off a former prosecutor in the group chat, someone who knew this wasn't just a neighborhood dispute. In the end, our neighborhood came together. People we barely knew stopped by to check in, and others shared similar stories that now made more sense. What started as fake HOA harassment turned out to be part of a larger scam targeting vulnerable families. It was scary, but it reminded me how important it is to stay alert, trust your instincts, and speak up, even when you're not sure anyone's listening. And to whoever thought my son was an easy target, they picked the wrong house that day.